There are particular areas where the conch is in greater abundance than in other areas, and all of us who would like them know that some are thin shell and some are thick shell. These three things influence the kind of decisions you should make on how you manage your conch stock. So for example, West End, which has very big, thin-lipped conch, so that big conch may be a juvenile conch. Different kind of education needs to take place. You come to an area with a hard bottom and the conchs are smaller, but they may be 10 years old. So those conch, you need a more informed interaction with the people harvesting the conch so that they making decisions about conch harvest pretty much the way we make decisions about lobster harvest. Every Bahamian lobster fisherman knows 3 inches for the head, 3 inches for the tail, you're within the law. Beyond that, you could go to jail or get fined. It's not so straightforward with the conch. But from north to south, we can broadly determine when the conch is in season. Unfortunately, lobster season ends and conch season begins. And so in the Bahamas, people who've been lobster fishing and want to continue to make a little money spend the summers harvesting an abundance of conch, which go in the freezers and then they're exported under a quota. We have to reverse that a little to protect the conch.
The lady in the back and then Scott.
Mr. Deveaux, Betty DeGrant for Bahamas Information Services. The government is constantly being criticized for not producing or mining the environment. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't hear the last part.
The government is being constantly criticized by some members of the public about mining aragonite. I just wanted to know what your thoughts are on this mining aragonite, getting into that.
I heard that. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
She's asking a question prefaced by a statement that the government is criticized about the mining of aragonite and what are my thoughts on it. The way aragonite is produced in our country, most of it falls on the edge of the ocean back to the bottom of wherever. It is the most abundantly sustainable resource in our country. So we can provide prescriptive approaches to mining millions of tons of aragonite. The last estimate I saw, we had 5 billion tons of aragonite in the Bahamas. So we can figure out how much of that we need annually, and we won't touch what's there. The problem occurs is when it's close to, if you ever flew from Nassau to Eleuthera, particularly going to Rock Sound or going to North Eleuthera, you'll see these white, bright colored, pure calcium deposits. That's the best, closest example I could give you of aragonite. Now if you just dug those up, you may have localized impact. You won't destroy the aragonite, but you may change the flow of the current. It's a resource we can harvest forever, sustainably, without impacting it if we manage it right. But it's not going to make us all wealthy. Aragonite is sand. Sand sells for so much a ton. It's good for making beaches. Some of it is good for making concrete. The higher value that it is used for has to be more refined, and you can't ship and sell as much of that higher value. So there's some issues I have with the way the argument is promulgated. Like you can't multiply 5 billion tons by $1 and say you have $5 billion. It doesn't quite work like that. Ma'am?
We all in here travel to Freeport sometime or the other. The other day I went to Freeport to talking about tidal flow. Where they're constructing that bridge, remember tides used to flow across and foot. But I noticed the other day that one side of the bridge is black water, the other side is natural flow water. What are we going to do with containing that, continue that flow? Are they going to continue to block that, or they continue to let it flow? My second question is, the devastation that BC has been doing into that same western area of the port, the Freeport container port. what you think about the effect, the long-term effect that it's going to have on the environment and the people of Western Grand Mountain.
First thing with respect to the bridge, I haven't seen it, I don't know. I expect, you're talking about this,
The bridge going into Imara.
fishing hole.
Yeah.
I didn't get to do anything about the fishing hole, and it's always had an impact when I was Minister of Works. I always felt that the best solution to that, if it were financially feasible, was to go up on one side and have a long high bridge so that the water could flow underneath. But I don't know if money is available to do that. That would have been the approach I would like.
Actually, the port, container port, they argued strongly against that because if we had restored the parks in that area, it would affect with their birthing patrons. And so the decision was made to, even after the bridge is completed, we're not going to open up on it.
So that's supposed to be allowed in our country.
Did you hear what the director
Well,
said?
as the young man said, you have to make
Yes.
decisions, environment, versus economy, and then you have to make those kind of decisions. And that was the decision that was made.
I mean, fair to hear that. But when you're looking at the environment that's going to affect me, my grandchildren, their grandchildren in the future, we don't know the detriment that that's going to bring to us future.
We do know, we know that that is one of the major reasons why during the hurricanes, Queens cold floods.
Yes,
We looked at all of that, but hard decisions have to be made.
but that's stupid.
With respect to the,
Second part, what is the long-term effect on the demolition of the rock plant, the digging out of the, further digging out of the harbor in the Freeport Western District? What the long-term effect that will hold on the community of Freeport? Because remember when they started blasting, they had the seismometer tests on the area, and people have been crackers, and they'll continue to do this.
now I can't respond to the emotional side of that argument, but I can respond to the factual side of that
Yes.
argument. I was in Grand Bahama with the people literally with the checkbook to replace the houses damaged by the blasting. That experience illustrated to me what is supposed to take place. Before any blast is done, they set a perimeter. And the perimeter establishes the impact of the blast within a certain zone. And they were able to demonstrate at the time, this was a few years ago, that the blast was not responsible for the damage that was occurring. It would prove. No, they did. Some of the people were able to prove whose houses were damaged by the blast, but the vast majority of them was related to poor construction. Now,
it
how
might have been a minute amount of people who could approve that, but that minuteness should have given you some power to discontinue that.
No,
or to enforce what the prescription was in the first place. If you're going to permit blasting, which was the decision, and the people authorized to do the blasting were required to, if I'm blasting here, the man at the door, I have to have a sensor by the door so that he can't feel anything, or what he feels is measured at such an extent that it's acceptable. That's the way they were supposed to do it.
Thank you, sir. But if they decide to move dangerous, we can fight.
Well, I'd like to end at this, because in all the Bahamas, We need sand for building, we need rock for construction, we need aggregate. One of the illustrations I was going to use to you is, how do you plan to accommodate the ongoing demand for sand, rock, and water for your road, houses, bridges, marinas, and harbor? How do you prescribe in advance where people should mine for rock, where they should harvest sand, and what they should do? And the point that was made about this bridge in Sandy Creek, the silt that is accumulated there, when we restore Sandy Creek, is the silt okay for construction? Is it cost effective to get? And if it is, should that be the place designated for getting sand for houses and bridges? If it's not, they will continue to go on the beach. And so long as we need roads and bridges and docks, we will need aggregate. So you have to figure out a way to go in advance. This is the place I'm going to mine as I'm clearing land for agriculture. This is where I'm going to get my rock. And these are the protocols I will follow. If not, you will get the mischief that occurred way back when.
Are the government using sponges?
No longer in the government.
Just one quick question, which is, I like the last part, especially we're talking about environmental legacy. And I think one of the things, like within our ministry, we need to learn how to appreciate what is our legacy. Because I'm going to speak from a personal standpoint when I dealt with Airport Gateway. And there are some decisions that may have been made that, yes, in terms of economy, but if we had thought, if we were environmentally minded when we were planning, we would have caught certain issues and dealt with it rather than having it having to deal with it right then and there and making the hard decision of economy versus environment. So my question to you is, what can us as the technical officers, what can we do to help change our mindset and to be more environmentally minded? Because I believe that small actions help move a country.
Thank you for your question. Rigby, stand up, please. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I work with him.
Dion, stand up, please.
She went with it.
Do you know him?
I work with him too.
Problem solved. Talk to each other.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask Director T.S. Paulsek, Minister, if you have any comments no?
My brother room.
Or any Okay, at this time, there is a saying around town that everybody wins. But today everybody wouldn't win. But if you could kindly check on your seat, someone might have.
Check out the mic.
Right here.
Yeah, you have one. You have one.
Just show it, just show it.
You can feel free to open it after. Can you both just come up for a photo?
Photo op.